Well, y'all, we knew it was coming. We knew it was happening with the announcements and everything, the closure of the PlayStation Store and all that. I thought maybe we get another 6 months out of it. Nah, it is confirmed. DanMachi Battle Chronicle is going to close the end of September. That's it. That's all the time we have left. So I was dragging my toes in the archive. Obviously, we've got to ramp that sucker up. You guys remember how it was with Dan Mimo? Basically, content's gonna be a little thin while I have to basically fast track all this stuff, and it is going to be a headache. But and we do have a lot of stuff that we need to archive anyway. But yeah. Now, let's be realistic about this. This was never Dan Mimo. Dan Mimo, those guys that didn't play the original DanMachi mobile game, well, not even the original one, because there was one even before that. But DanMachi Memoria Freeze was the absolute best mobile game, period, end of story, I have ever played. And a lot of us coming from that to this were a little bit taken aback. This is a completely different environment. Now, some good. We got a lot of 3D space, we got a lot of story, we got a lot of unique stuff out of this game. But a lot of it not so good. And mistakes that future devs, when you're planning a game like this, not necessarily for DanMachi, but for any IP, the big takeaway from this versus Dan Mimo is the player base, the way the players are treated. And I'll be completely frank, from day one, I was very vocal about the fact I did not see my value out of this game the same way I saw out of Dan Mimo. When it came to Dan Mimo, we got so much for practically nothing. And when the carrot was dangled, when you wanted to max out a unit, you could spend $20-$30, max out a unit if you absolutely did want to go ham on a unit. It was there, and it was quite accessible to a vast majority of people. In this game, every single unit, every dupe of a unit was locked basically behind either amazing, insane, extraordinarily robust luck or a paywall of about $200 per dupe, mind you. And then you needed about 6 dupes for any character to be any good. That already boded really poorly. That already bodes pretty poorly for any game. Paywalls are paywalls, and that's just the modern reality of gaming, unfortunately. But this game was really abusive to his player base in comparison to Dan Mimo. So I said from the very start this was going to be a limited game. I saw 2 years, and I called it from the very start. Those guys that were around at the very beginning, I said, we'll get to second anniversary, I will be impressed. Lo and behold. And really the writing on the wall was when we got an anniversary and a half. Anniversary and a half was kind of the things can't be going well if you guys are hyping, that midpoint to that extent. So here's the deal. Here's what you guys should be doing right now. Number 1, stop supporting gaming. That's it. We need to just cut it here. Because what this was from the very start was a cash grab. They saw a fresh IP with a lot of players with, they knew enough going into this how to bring us over from Dan Mimo, how to dangle the carrot and how to get all that. But once we got here, it was just gimme from the very start. And I've always been vocal about that. I always try to maintain positivity and try to drop you guys positive content and try to bring, ways that you can achieve certain things in the game without going crazy. The whales are always going to whale. And let's not get too caught up in the idea of the free-to-play player has to be on the same level as the whale. That's never going to be the case. These games have to dangle the carrot for the whales, and they have to basically there has to be that end goal for somebody to spend phenomenal amounts of money to support the game. And it was there in Dan Mimo. It's always going to be the case. But the paywall here was so incredibly high. It was just unfathomable from the start. And a lot of people that were... yes, I'm kind of ripping the game a new one at this point. But just my honest to goodness feelings coming out and things I really haven't... I've kind of had bottled up. We've talked a little bit about these things on stream, and I just haven't been as vocal in the videos because I like to keep my videos very positive. But the writing was on the wall from the start, and it sucks. So at this point, I'm done. We're not dropping another dime in this game. You get what you get. It is what it is. We'll still continue to enjoy it. We'll still continue to cover the stories and the reruns and things like that. We have the second anniversary coming up. But basically, the end of the second anniversary, that's it. It is what it is. And the real downside, and I will say, like, the thing that sucks the most about this for the players is the fact that on the back of Dan Mimo, we had so many things lined up. There was there were 2 fresh new mobile games in the works. Unfortunately, only one of those, this one in particular, actually made it to production. There was the console game, which, funny enough, if you guys are watching the live stream right now, that's what we're going to be playing here in a few minutes. There was so much happening and coming up in regards to this that there was still light at the end of the tunnel as a Danmachi fan. But now, at the end of this, here, we don't really have much. It's going to be at least another year and a half, maybe 2 years, before we get another season at the anime. The light novels for that season, I believe the last light novel that would be in the next season should be dropping here soon in Japan. Then it's going to be another year before it's translated over here. So we're really talking about probably not seeing more Danmachi until 2026, maybe 2027. And honestly, for another mobile game to kind of coexist, there needs to be that hype. So unfortunately, I would not expect to see another Danmachi mobile game happening in that amount of time. I would love to see another Danmachi console game. Absolutely would love to see it. I would love to see one. To all the devs out there that are looking for a solid IP to make your game on, this cannot be a very difficult IP to obtain. I'm going to be completely frank here. You're not talking, One Piece, Dragon Ball, those AAA, Super Shonen type of series that are going to have that mass market insane appeal. It is going to be a little niche, but because of that, it's not going to be a terrible IP to obtain. And being a dungeon crawler series, obviously there's all right. Let me kind of back up here because I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for saying that. At the core of the original concept, you've got adventurers who are adventuring in a dungeon, and then obviously you've got the other side stories and really the heart of the characters and all that you can piggyback on. But writing an action adventure game for a series like this would be... There's so many different places you can go. Once again, the console game we got most recently was a Metroidvania. Who would have seen a Metroidvania coming out for something like this? That's just great idea, great concept, just not one I expected to see necessarily. So basically what I'm getting at is, if you're a big fan of Danmachi and you've been following us since Dan Mimo and you've been here through all the console games and all that, the good and the bad, don't get too bogged down with the idea that this is the end of the road. There's probably still more coming. There's going to be a lull period. There's going to be some downtime. But this is not unexpected. It is a bit of a gut punch. It definitely is not. I'm not going to be... For those of you guys that were at the end of Dan Mimo, when we had that last stream, I think that's one of the biggest differences for me. I don't consider myself a large content creator. I mean, we're a very modest channel. But when the devs came into the stream while we were playing that last round, after the servers had closed, we had gone into, I think, Eyes Wars, and we were just playing through something that would basically be able to extend our enjoyment of the game. That actually, brought me to literal tears. And I don't think we'd ever see that with aiming. I don't think that's just... not something that would happen in this environment necessarily. it's just my takeaway from the interactions that I've had here in this community currently. So don't get bogged down. It's not the end of the world. There will be more at some point. There's just going to be a waiting period. Now, a lot of you guys are going to ask what's going to happen with this channel, and we will have a whole discussion on that. Obviously, we've got a lot of the light novels, all that we could talk about. We have a lot of like lore-based stuff that we could talk about. Some other people have come up with some really great ideas, things that I've toyed with. So we'll have our whole discussion on that. But as far as DANCHRO closing, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. The beginning of the end has been here for quite a bit of time. So that is what it is, guys. It's official. DANCHRO is going away at the end of September. So get it what you get in. Enjoy the rest of the game. It's not, you don't have to abandon it, but I wouldn't spend money on it at all, period. Don't give them a dime from this point going forward. Just enjoy the units you've got. Enjoy the reruns. Save all your free-to-play currency for the anniversary. Plop it down to that first banner and go absolutely ham. If you guys have ideas for further content just on DanMachi alone, I'd love to hear it. We're actually live streaming right now, so people are dropping great ideas in the comments. We could definitely do all that stuff. Like, there's so much we could do as a channel, and we'll talk about all that later on. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys subscribe. And obviously, when more games come about and we start hearing more stuff about DanMachi products coming out, and Wistoria, I completely forgot. We even have a chapter of Wistoria we haven't talked about, and it's been over a month. It's just been a crazy month, so we need to talk about that here shortly. And I'm sure Wistoria is one of those that probably is going to get its own mobile game and is going to get its own, hopefully, action-adventure games like on console or on PC or something like that here in the near future. I would love to see that. I think they need to get their second season out and really build that hype. But, you know, there's enough content in that to at least fill 2, if not 3 more seasons, even at current. So we do have that as well. Like, we're not going anywhere, guys. This is not the end of us. It's the end of this. And I am not surprised at all. I'm not crying over this. I did cry over Dan Mimo. Well, not over this. But those are my candid thoughts here as someone that's been kind of foreseeing this all weekend long. But if you guys haven't, make sure you guys subscribe. We'll be back with a lot more coming up here real soon. And once again, we got a lot more we could cover here. You know, obviously we'll continue to do normal stuff we've been doing, Uncharted Battlefield, Abyssal Exploration, but that's kind of about, I expect, it. I don't think we're going to get anything new after that, which really sucks because there was a lot of growth still left in this game that we'll just never see come to fruition. But it is what it is. Catch you on the next one, guys. Hope to see you around.